for many people trying to start the hobby, and personally, I would have to agree with that statement. Nobody can learn how to fly one of these little airplanes in one day, and neither could I. It took me about 1 or 2 years to start flying good, and I still don't fly that good to this day, even though I'm much better than when I started. But don't let this intimidate you. Anybody can learn. In this video, I'll be talking about the basic principles of flight you will need to know to get started, and then I'll be talking about prepping the airplane for flight, and finally, I'll be talking about the actual process of flying this little airplane. These little airplanes look very similar to the large-scale ones you see flying around every day. In fact, they even perform similarly with the same geometry and effect on the air around them. That brings me to how these things actually get in the air. This is necessary information you need to know to get flying. This here is actually an airplane I built myself. However, there are many airplanes on the market that you can buy for relatively cheap. These companies that produce these aircraft also provide many replacement parts, and these will come in handy later. Now on to how these things actually fly. First, we will start off back here at the horizontal stabilizer. The job of this is to keep the airplane flying at a constant pitch. This little control surface back here, called the elevator, is designed to change the pitch of the aircraft. It does this by, for example, if it's in the up position, it forces the tail of the plane down and the nose of the plane up, which then increases the elevation of the airplane, and vice versa. If you point it down, the nose of the airplane will go down and the plane will dive. Next, what we have here is what's called the vertical stabilizer. This is designed to keep the airplane stable in the yaw axis. And right here, what we have is the rudder. This is designed to change the airplane's yaw in the yaw axis. This is used for coordinating turns. Next, what we have here is what's called the wing. The wing provides lift to the aircraft using something called Bernoulli's principle.
This says that faster moving air creates low pressure, and this acts like a vacuum on the top of the wing, effectively sucking the plane into the air.
Attached to the wing are these small control surfaces called ailerons. They move opposite of each other and they control the plane in the roll axis. This is used for making turns. Finally, what we have here is the most important part of the airplane. Without it, we would just be left with a lame glider. This piece is called the motor, engine, or power plant. The most important thing, though, is that attached to the motor is what's called the propeller. This is what provides thrust to the airplane, and this is what gets the airplane moving. In fact, these propellers actually look like little wings, and they use Bernoulli's principle to provide thrust to the airplane. Now that all of that information is cleared up, I will take you out to the field to show you how it's actually done. Now that we are out on the runway, I will show you how to start flying. You might just want to jump right into flying, but it's important that you take your time and slowly build up to flight. Check that there is no wind, and preferably there is none, but if there is wind, go ahead and face your plane into it. Next, you will need to decide whether or not your control surfaces are moving in the right direction. I've made the bad mistake of not doing this once, and let's just say I won't be doing that again. To do this, you'll need to do something called the high five method. This ensures that your control surfaces are moving in the right direction. First, with the left stick, move it to the left. As you can see, your rudder should move left, and vice versa. Next, with your right stick, move it down, and as you can see, the elevator will pop up and give you a little high five. Next, with your right stick, move it to the left, and you should be able to high five the aileron as it comes up to high five you, and vice versa. If I move it to the right aileron comes up to high five me. Also, with your left stick, it should be on the all the way down position and your throttle should not be moving. If it's on the all the way down position and your throttle is moving, you will need to change that inside the transmitter. But as you can see, everything is perfect right now, and I am ready to start showing you how to fly. Next, what you want to do is just keep it slow and taxi around. It will give you a better feel for your airplane, and you can see how your throttle responds to your inputs. Also, taxi it towards you because turning is the opposite when you're coming towards yourself, and you can help accommodate for this change. The next thing you should do is turn the plane away from you and get it going just fast enough that the tail wheel lifts off the ground. This shows you that you are almost there to flight, but not quite. Finally, what you should do is take the plane up to that same speed until the tail wheel lifts off the ground, and then pull up on the elevator a little bit. This will cause the plane to take off, and congratulations, you're flying, but not quite. What you need to do is cut the throttle and slowly come back in for a landing just straight away from you. This helps you gain confidence in flight because it shows you that you actually did something. Take note that this whole practice process should take about a week because it kind of helps you build confidence in your flying and it helps you get to know your airplane a bit better. Now, after your practice is over, you're ready to fly. But don't get your hopes up because you will crash. There's no getting around it. It could be something minor or major, and that's why they invented replacement parts like I mentioned earlier, like wings, control surfaces, or even the whole fuselage. In fact, even when filming this video, I crashed, even though it wasn't really my fault, but we'll get to that later. The key thing you should do is never quit. Keep your flights simple at first because there's really no need to spend a whole entire battery up in the air. Wink wink. First, get up to speed until the tail wheel lifts off and then pull back on the elevator and pretty much just like that you are in the air. Be sure to fly straight away from you. Give small, gentle inputs on the sticks and keep calm. Once you get high enough, move the aileron stick either left or right until the plane is tilted and pull back on the elevator. This is how you turn. This type of flying is called yank and bank flying. It's called this because it simply is that. You bank the airplane and then you yank back on the stick and it turns. It is just important that you feel comfortable in the air. If you do not feel comfortable, you can always go back to do the practice that I just showed you. Now, it is really up to you how you fly. You can choose, and that's the beauty of it. It is best to fly as high as you safely can because it gives you the most time to react to situations that are bad. Now, onto how I crashed. I was filming the video and right when I took off I knew something was wrong. It felt sluggish and slow, but I kind of just passed it off thinking that, oh, maybe my GoPro was weighing it down. Right when I was coming in for landing, the battery died on the airplane, and so did my pure language on the ground. But it's fine now because now I get to build a new airplane. Now on to landing. Since I didn't get the landing clip on video because I crashed right before I was going to do it, I'll have to take you onto the simulator to show you how it's done. To land, go far away from you and then turn around and come in towards yourself nice and shallow. This ensures that you are not going too fast for landing. When you get close to the runway, cut your throttle and then you're about a foot off the ground, pull back on the elevator all the way. This causes your plane to flare and land softly, using the landing gear to its advantage, and congratulations, that's how it's done. But that's not all. Usually after about a month of flying, you start to get risky and become a better flyer. These are some aerobatics you can try. First is the loop. To do the loop, you simply fly level and then you dive down to gain speed. Right when you have enough speed, you pull aggressively back up on the stick and the plane will do a full loop and come back to level. The next aerobatic trick you can try is called the barrel roll. To do this, fly level, and when your plane is going at a good speed, put the ailerons all the way to the left or the right. It doesn't matter. The plane will twist around in the air until it's flying level again. Personally, my style of aerobatics is a bit different. I like to throw the sticks around in random directions just to experiment. My personal favorite is throwing the sticks all the way diagonal of each other, and this really gives the airplane a cool effect in the air. There are many other types of aerobatics, but those are just the basic ones that anybody can start with. There you have it. That is the complete process of how to fly an RC plane. These are only tips because it's really up to the person flying to connect the dots and succeed. I hope you learned something about the basic properties, how to set up, and finally how to fly an RC plane. Thank you.